Since the dawn of the 21st century, scientific discovery has rushed forward at lightning speed. Genetics, physics, computerized technology, robotics, virtual reality. Join Derek and Sharon Gilbert as they uncover the truths behind this ultimate scientific deception. Welcome to SciFriday.
There are many things in science that are unexplained until they are. Welcome to SciFriday on Skywatch TV. I'm Derek Gilbert. Joining us, as always, our science advisor, my best friend and author of the Red Wing Saga, Book 1, Blood Lies, Book 2, Blood Rights, now available, Sharon K. Gilbert.
Hi, sweetie. Hi, sweetie. That was Walter Bishop's character from Fringe.
Played by the wonderful John Noble. He makes everything that he's in worth watching.
Well, you know, recently I posted that you and I were re-watching the episodes of Fringe on our DVDs, and someone said how much they loved the show, and I said, you know, as far as the science, it's not always very accurate. In fact, sometimes it's downright silly.
Right.
But it's always worth watching John Noble because it's like getting a master class in acting.
Yes. And of course, he played Ichabod Crane's son.
Yes, which was crazy, who was Sleepy Hollow. Hey, you know, there was so much potential in that show, and that show was off the rails, apologizing for all sorts of Illuminati plans.
And witchcraft. Yes.
Yeah.
But,
white magic, that's good.
Yeah, but if you appreciate somebody who's a master at the craft, not only John Noble, but the younger actor who played Ichabod Crane, Tom Misen.
Yeah, Tom Misen.
Excellent, excellent. Look forward to seeing him in more things. And of course, John Noble played Denethor, a dark character, disturbed character in the Lord of the Rings movies.
Yeah. Yeah, so anyway, that was a great opening. By the way, you did not see an opening science because we're out of them. And so because we are out of them, rather than try to solicit a whole bunch more and take the chance that you guys are simply tired of creating them, which we understand, we've decided that we're just going to move away from that. And we'll try
right into the programs, yes.
Move right into the program, but we'll try to come up with another something that we can, audience participation kind of thing that we can do in the future. So if you have any suggestions, let us know. Also, if you have opening science fiction, science fantasy quotes, let us know, because it's so hard it's hard enough to come up with the stories to talk about, but coming up with a good quote?
Yeah, well, we're, how many episodes into this now are we?
I don't know.
75,
5 million?
80? Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Squared.
So we did put out a DVD, by the way, the Best of SciFriday, and we'll have
we should have brought that up here with us. What were we thinking?
Not thinking at all. But we'll have those available at the conference in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
We picked out a dozen of the best episodes of the last year, which of course included interviews with guests like Guy Malone at the Roswell UFO Festival, Carl Gallups, who's really a unique thinker for a Baptist preacher who's just totally gets the transhumanist movement and the prophetic implications. Lieutenant Colonel Bob McGinnis, who understands the implications of science and the transhumanist movement on the military.
Yes.
And also Justin Fall talking about the hollow earth.
I know, it was a really, really good series of shows. I'm glad that essentially we took the ones that seemed to be the most popular with viewers and put them together. I think there are 12 shows in it.
Right.
By the way, we did a great deal on those. If you hear voices in the background, there are offices right next door, and they're working on editing, so forgive that, because believe it or not, we actually are working.
Josh Peck still hasn't learned the concept of inside voice.
He hasn't learned the concept to put on your headphones when you're editing next to someone who's actually recording, but not a problem. He just wants to be on the show.
Well, and several of the episodes of our best episodes were when Josh sat in and we discussed things like the TRAPPIST-1 planets.
Yes, yes, space beer.
Space beer, yes.
But anyway, yeah, the Best of SciFriday. We've got lots to talk about today, so we won't be able to spend too much time on that. But I do want to thank some of you have already gone online and reviewed Blood Rights at Amazon, and I really appreciate that. I love the fact that you like it so much. Love the fact that you've emailed me or sent me notes on Facebook with your reactions to the book. As I've said before, by the way, I will hold it up just so you see. We really do have copies of it. The third book, The Blood is the Life, will be out at Christmas.
Oh.
Yeah.
So people who are interested in the series won't have to wait a very long time.
I'm trying to roll them out every 4 months because I know what it's like when I've been waiting for a book in the past that I really like, and it's like you've left my character hanging.
Right, right.
So I don't want to do that to you for very long.
Well, it's like George R.R. Martin has done with his Song of Fire and Ice series, on which the series Game of Thrones is based. People have been waiting for the last book in the series for quite a while. He's kind of hit a block, it seems, but you, thank God, have not had that problem. Tom Horn just shakes his head in amazement. How do you write so fast? Like, well,
I have so many more ideas that I have time to write the books, so I don't think I'm going to run out of ideas.
But the thing, and I'll say this, and acknowledging that I'm a little biased here, but the research and the depth of research that you have done to create in these books a fully formed world, you really get engrossed. You believe that you're part of that world when you're reading it. I wrote a science fiction fantasy mashup sometime back, which I'll probably update and revise, and we'll put out under the Rose Avenue Fiction line at some point, maybe in 2018, Iron Dragons. And that was one area where I think that book was the weakest. It was in creating a universe that was 3D.
But it was your first
it was my first novel.
And honestly, I remember when you and I first got married and you told me with all seriousness, oh, I'm not a writer.
Yeah, well.
You are a writer.
Well.
So there.
But anyway, having gone through that process and know how difficult it is, when you're trying to create one but what you're doing is not only trying to create a fictional world, but doing it in a historic context. So the Jack the Ripper murders and all the details of those murders, and also things that were happening in London and around the world at that time, are accurate in those novels. That makes it that much more difficult. You really set a high bar for yourself.
Well,
in there.
thank you. I appreciate that, and I really try hard to do that. There, you know, when Lord Aubrey is reading the newspaper, I try to mention stories that were actually true at the time, or variations of true stories. But speaking of writing and editing. We promised last week that we would get to this story because I think it's an important one.
Yes.
We've talked about CRISPR-Cas9 on here before. CRISPR is just the new technique for editing DNA that at one time was assumed to be read-only, but sadly scientists have figured out they can actually get in there and edit things, and they're not really proficient at it or efficient at it. But scientists have wondered for years. When I studied biology back at Indiana University, one of the areas that I had to study as a graduate student was embryology, and I had to help teach it because the specifics were how the visual system was developed in what narrow band I was studying. But scientists want to know exactly how new children grow and what genes are involved in that growth process. And one of the ways to do that is to alter different genes and see what happens to the embryo. Sadly, that's what they're doing. When I was at IU, we did that to flies.
Fruit flies.
Fruit flies, all the time. Walked into a room one day and the professor said, "Don't anybody kill the flies." Because the whole lab the flies had gotten out. They were pseudopodia. They had feet on their heads.
Feet on their heads.
They had feet on their heads.
So you tweaked the genetic makeup of the fruit fly embryos and...
Not the genetic makeup. What had been discovered at IU and was being also repeated in other schools was that if you go into the actual egg and just move sections of it around, because the eggs are segmented, and depending on where they are in the egg, something will develop that is relative to that section of the final product. So by moving the back section to the front, they had feet on the head.
Okay.
Yeah. Now they probably are in there actually editing the DNA, but scientists want to edit the DNA of developing embryos to figure out what causes it to stop, how the effects are manifested. And they're supposedly going to stop at about 200 cells.
Well, according to the journal article published in Nature magazine a couple of weeks ago, scientists in London have done this, and they said that they stopped at 200 cells. But the way they choose language and words matter.
Yeah.
Because the way you phrase things changes how we perceive the information and receive the information. What they did was they deactivated protein.
The OCT4 gene.
Yes, which normally becomes active in the first few days of an embryo's development, so they could tell pretty quickly whether they'd been successful in targeting that specific gene that produced that protein. But then here's the way they phrased it in the article reporting on the journal article. After 7 days, embryo development was stopped and the embryos were analyzed. Now please understand what that means. Embryo development was stopped. What that means is at that point the developing humans were killed.
Yes, at 7 days.
Right. Scientists are experimenting on developing humans.
That's exactly what they are doing. However, most scientists don't see it as a human.
Right.
In fact, there are some scientists that even once born, the belief is in some circles that if you are under 2 years old, you're not yet really sentient.
Right, because you're not self-aware. And that is how they arbitrarily define personhood.
Yeah.
And if you're not a person, then killing you is not a crime.
Exactly. And you could be 2 years or under and not be a person, or you could be an entity like a corporation and be considered legally a person under the law.
This not only allows for non-human persons, because they can argue that dogs and apes and dolphins and whales are self-aware and thus considered persons under the law. Robots, artificial intelligences, but it also allows for non-person humans, like children under the age of 2 or people who have suffered severe head trauma or are born with certain genetic defects.
Yes.
So a soldier who's shot in the head while serving our nation could be defined under this definition of personhood as a non-person. So we can pull the plug because...
But worse, if you're a non-person human, are you then subject to experimentation? Can we take a fully grown adult and edit the DNA to see what happens? If you knock out this gene, what happens to the person?
This person's in a vegetative state. It would be a shame to waste the resources on this useless eater. Let's make them useful by harvesting the organs or performing experiments.
Exactly, and that's one of the reasons that I started rewatching the TV show Fringe, because it's all about fringe science and also gets into multiple universes, which Josh Peck, talks about on Into the Multiverse. But the science isn't always very good. But overall, the ideas were ahead of its time. So you have to wonder who at Fox, this is the same network that gave you the X-Files, and Sleepy Hollow, by the way.
And Millennium.
Who at Fox wants to promote an agenda?
Yeah, and it raises some interesting questions. And if you want to watch the program with, again, it's available on DVD, 5 seasons altogether. It raises some interesting questions about the ethics because the character played by John Noble, Walter Bishop, is brilliant, but he recognizes that there are some ethical issues involved, and he takes steps to prevent himself.
Yeah, don't want to spoil it.
Right, I don't want to spoil it. But take steps to prevent himself from putting together puzzle pieces that would allow him to do things that he considers unethical. But even then, in his self-limited state, he does things that indicate he doesn't always view the human subjects in his tests with real empathy.
Right.
Oh, I guess I should have apologized to you in advance. For what? And then he turns a knob and the subject goes, yeah! Because, this is going to hurt just a little bit. But for Walter and for many scientists, the ends justify the means.
Yeah.
We want to know if we can do this with the human genome, so terminating these embryos, or rather stopping development, is morally acceptable. I think from a Christian perspective, this is morally reprehensible.
Yes, that's
and this type of experimentation should be prohibited, absolutely outlawed.
I so agree with that. Sadly, it probably will not be because CRISPR has taken on a life of its own.
Right.
It and other mutagenic techniques have so captured the imagination of many scientists and industry leaders that it is not going to go away.
No. And this was performed, by the way, this research at the Francis Crick Institute in Britain. So this is not a fringe laboratory. This is one that is considered one of the top in the field worldwide.
Crick and Watson discovered the actual
double
formation.
Helix.
Exactly.
Right, and because this is made publicly known, okay, you know that there are things going on in other laboratories that have not been made public because they don't want to let it out that they are doing things. But the Chinese have been doing this as well. So this is going on now. And I'll just say this before we go to break. 12 years ago, when the state of Missouri had a constitutional referendum and is now part of the state constitution here, back in 2006, the practice of stem cell research, embryonic stem cell research, was basically enshrined in our Constitution. It is now constitutionally protected in the state of Missouri because there is a research institute in Kansas City that spent a lot of money advertising to the state of Missouri that would lead to all of these miracle cures to things like Parkinson's disease and birth defects and so forth.
That's how this is always sold.
But it always comes down to this. In order to do embryonic stem cell research or this type of CRISPR-Cas9 research, you have to create the embryos, which often means human cloning, and then you have to kill them.
Yes.
This is one step removed from the island of Dr. Moreau.
It may not be all that far removed. I mean, really, one step, it may not be removed at all.
Yeah.
It may be part of that end game.
Yeah. Well, science, and this is something that we as Christians need to push back against. We're not afraid of science. Science is a wonderful tool to understand better the creation, the miraculous creation around us. But science is not morally neutral.
No.
I mean, you cannot just say that science isn't, I should say science is morally neutral. It's how it's used. There are those who promote science as an end unto itself, and that is what's behind the transhumanist movement. We need to do this because it's a moral imperative to save the human race, and if we don't do it, you're a bad person for opposing it. So, gets my blood up. SciFriday continues right after this.
Call now and take advantage of Skywatch TV's biggest giveaway of the summer. The Zeitgeist Summer Exclusive includes Dr. Thomas Horn's eye-opening new book, Zeitgeist 2025, Countdown to the Secret Destiny of America, The Lost Prophecies of Qumran, and the Return of Old Saturn's Reign, along with a never-before-released 6-part Zeitgeist 2025 companion DVD, the shocking full-length documentary, The Secret Destiny of America on DVD, the full-length movie, Belly of the Beast, the ancient mystery that holds the secret of Antichrist's resurrection and return, and the entire 6-disc Rise 2021 Defender Virtual Conference box set on DVD, a $245 value, now available for your donation of only $35 plus shipping and handling. In the new book, Zeitgeist 2025, you will learn hidden secrets and forgotten prophecies surrounding the year 2025, how the current U.S. government is tied to America's occult destiny, lost prophecies from Qumran, forecasting 2025 as the final age of man, how America's capital city is laid out to actuate arrival of Antichrist, and why historians and intelligence agencies foresee a totalitarian world government by 2025. You'll also receive the Zeitgeist Companion DVD. This 6-part eye-opening expose on DVD reveals the malevolent Orwellian trinity converging around the world, seeking to homogenize the freedom to speak and think in order to create nations of assimilated devotees who will embrace Antichrist. And we're just getting started. This must-have collection also includes the breathtaking 2-hour documentary, The Secret Destiny of America on DVD, featuring Dr. Thomas Horn as he reveals who the God on America's Great Seal and U.S. $1 bill really is, why 72 pentagrams in the Capitol Dome are used to control the ancient cosmocrators who rule the nations, the coming incarnation of Antichrist, and much, much more. But that's not all. For a very limited time, you'll also receive the complete Rise 2021 Defender Virtual Conference box set on DVD. This 6-disc collection is jam-packed with over 26 hours of mind-boggling revelations from world-renowned Bible teachers, archaeologists, and ancient language scholars on the prophetic events unfolding all around the world right now, featuring unforgettable presentations from Dr. Thomas Horn, Dr. Judd Burton, Bishop Ron Webb, Dr. Aaron Judkins, Pastor Mark Biltz, Colonel David Giammona, Dr. Ken Johnson, and so many more. Plus, for the first time ever, free the full-length movie Belly of the Beast, the ancient mystery that holds the secret of Antichrist's resurrection and return, on DVD, absolutely free. Sold separately, these items hold a shocking retail value of over $245. Yours now for a donation of only $35 plus shipping and handling while supplies last. So don't miss Skywatch TV's biggest giveaway of the summer, the Zeitgeist Summer Exclusive, available now at skywatchtvstore.com. Order now. or call 1-844-750-4985.
Hi, I'm Derek Gilbert.
I'm Sharon Gilbert, and we are here to tell you about an exciting new program from Skywatch TV.
We are really looking forward to this. It is a program that will address some of the strange, the unusual questions, some of the puzzling issues, some that draw, well, people away from the Bible because they don't think there are answers for it in Scripture.
That is so true. Now, behind us, you're seeing the Unraveling Revelation logo, but we're going to show you right now the logo for the brand new television program that will probably debut in
March or April.
Yep.
It is called The Bible's Greatest Mysteries. Think of this as a program where we go, as soon as travel allows again, to various locations and investigate, interview scholars, archaeologists, Bible experts, prophecy experts to help us to understand some of the mysterious aspects of life on planet Earth.
You've seen other groups do the same kind of television program. They try to explain it by saying they're aliens. We want to explain it from the Bible. We want to take all of these questions. There is no question that cannot be answered biblically.
Amen to that. So keep watch. We'll be announcing the dates as soon as we have it. As soon as we have a firm date to launch. Right now, it's still in pre-production, but coming soon from Skywatch TV, The Bible's Greatest Mysteries.
Can't wait.
Welcome back to SciFriday on Skywatch TV. I'm Derek Gilbert. Joining me, our science advisor, Sharon K. Gilbert. Please take us with you. We ride along inside your cell phone, if it's a smartphone or tablet. We've got the free download. It's a Skywatch TV mobile app where you can get this program, Into the Multiverse, our daily news updates, and our regular weekly program downloaded as they are added to the mobile app. You'll find the download for those linked at the Skywatch TV website. That's skywatchtv.com.
You know, we were talking about non-human people, or non-human persons, non-person humans. So many ways to put that. There are a couple of stories, and I don't know if we'll be able to get to both of them, but one of them has to do with the Internet of Battle Things.
Internet of Battle Things?
We've talked about the Internet of Things many, many times on this show. The Internet of Battle Things is something that DARPA wants to design. In other words, it wants not just all things to be connected, it wants all things talking to one another. When you're in the battle, everything, some of them autonomous, will be making decisions and relaying that back to other things, other people, handheld devices, automobiles, ships, planes, people back at home making decision makers. Everything will be connected. For example, I did not know until I read the article about this, that which was at DARPA, that the Tesla cars all talk to each other.
Now, I knew that they talked back to the factory, but I didn't realize they were networked.
They are networked to each other. If there are, say, if you're in a Tesla car that you're driving, and there's an automatically in a self-driving Tesla car somewhere else within the communication range, if you hit a pothole, the other car will avoid the pothole.
So it marks its position with GPS.
With GPS, and learns that there's something there it needs to
avoid.
Alter, either alter the speed or the way the brakes are, it will alter it in a way. So they're talking to each other. And of course the Tesla company altered the information on the battery life.
Right.
So that people who are escaping Florida could, they'd have enough energy to get there.
Right. When Hurricane Irma was incoming, there was a certain base model Tesla that has the batteries are limited as far as the range. It's the same battery that's in the upscale model. It's just that they are software limited as far as their range, and the company just sent out a patch and unlocked the full potential of the battery so people could drive farther without having to recharge.
Now imagine an Internet of Things with DARPA or the military in control of it, or a hacker in control of it.
Well, that's the thing. The Navy has been working on a weapon system called Locust, which is inexpensive but networked.
You have
drones.
To love the name.
Right. And they would basically network with one another and swarm a target like locusts using their communication to find weak spots in the enemy defenses and then swarm those spots. This would network everything from Navy ships to planes in the air to armor tanks on the ground.
Everything, to implants that were in the soldiers, everything would be connected.
Right, right. But you're right. If anything that is networked with a computer that is connected to a network of any kind can be hacked. And so you're right. What would happen if hackers got together? Think about this. What would happen if hackers found a way to get into the Tesla system and commanded a bunch of Tesla vehicles to all swarm one place and turn them all into rolling bombs? Yeah,
it can be done. Let's just pray a
conceivably,
hacker hasn't decided to do that. But essentially what this is building is Skynet. Which takes us to another story. It's related because James Cameron, who did the original Terminator movie and the follow-up, the second movie, is talking about doing another one that will be released in 2019, which many people will say would actually be the third in the series because the rest of them are all trash. He says he believes that AI is very dangerous and it's too late. The genie's already out of the bottle because he was asked in an interview, do you think that essentially artificial intelligence will take over humanity? And he said, well, walk into any mall and look at the kids. It already owns us.
Yeah, that's very true. Was sitting at a meal in a restaurant the other day and with my mother, took her out down to Branson and noticed that the family sitting at the table next to us, mom, dad, and son, all three of them staring at a screen. Yeah, but that is very much like what Elon Musk has said, the guy who created the Tesla vehicle and is also the head of SpaceX. The genie, or rather artificial intelligence, is literally summoning the demon. Yeah. Yet we need to pursue it and continue on so that we can preserve humanity. Speaking of SpaceX, he will be addressing a gathering in Australia, the International Astronautical Congress in Adelaide, along with representatives from Lockheed Martin. SpaceX and Lockheed Martin are both presenting their plans for transporting the first human missions to Mars.
That's really interesting because Lockheed Martin is a defense contractor.
Yes, yes, and SpaceX would love to be.
Yeah.
So that will be actually Thursday night and Friday, as you're watching this on Friday. So by the time you see this, they probably would already have made their presentations.
Speaking of presentations, by the way, 2 weeks from today, we will be in Norman, Oklahoma, and we hope you're going to be there. But if you can't be there in person, you can live stream it. And you even get a free DVD package when you live stream, when you sign up.
Yeah, you'll find more information at the website of our friends at Prophecy Watchers, prophecywatchers.com. 33 speakers, you get to see every speaker at least once, and all of these presentations are archived for 60 days, so you don't have to watch them in real time. You can go back and watch them when it's convenient for you.
And there's going to be a Roku channel.
Yes.
So they're making it really easy to do.
Yeah, very affordable. Again, information and registration at prophecywatchers.com.
One last thing that has to do with the Nazca tomb, the DNA results are in on the mummified humans.
I love the way the headline says DNA results are in and they are real beings.
Yeah.
But of course, the DNA tests show that these so-called Nazca mummies, the so-called mummified aliens with the 3 clawed fingers, totally human, 100% human.
But they're real beings.
They are real beings.
Well, mostly. We're not really sure if they're, they might be non-human beings.
Well, I'm glad that we're both real beings.
So far.
Yes. Glad you are too, and thank you for watching as we keep watch. I'm Derek Gilbert with Sharon Gilbert, and this is SciFriday on Skywatch TV.